I'd like to welcome my special guest today. He happens to be the Chief Executive Officer, the Chief Operating Officer, and Director of Stanley Black Decker, James Lowry. Jim, welcome.
Hi, Rick. How you doing?
Very well. Listen, it seems as though Stanley Black Decker's also doing a bit better than many might have expected listening to their July 30th earnings call. You filed an 8K. Basically, you're moving from a minus 7% to flat third quarter on an organic growth forecast, upgraded to potentially up 7 to 10%. Can you tell us some of the details of that 8K filing?
Absolutely. There's been a real bonanza in the home centers and in e-commerce in the United States. That's a big part of it. There's this reconnection with the home and garden that's occurring with the consumers. And on top of that, we have Europe is starting to become sequentially better by the week. And also emerging markets, which were really in difficult straits, are now looking like they're up in double digits as well. So it's been a very dynamic year. In April, we were down 40% for 4 weeks in a row, and it looked like the year was going to be incredibly challenging. And just as time has gone on here and things have stabilized and the consumers come out, the economies have gotten a little better around the world. It's looking much, much better.
I know initially you had some workers that were sidelined and furloughed. Can you give me an update on that status?
Sure. So when the sales were down about 40%, we decided to take out about $1 billion of cost. And about $500 million of that was going to be mostly comp and ben related, and the other half was going to be from our suppliers and so on. And that involved a furlough or shortened work week for about 10,000 salaried employees. And recently, with the better news and revenue and so forth, we've been able to bring back about 90% of them, and 1,000 will go into permanent layoff status. But it's been a really positive development based on the revenue growth.
You know, when I think about tools, there's so much more to the new Stanley Black Decker. E-commerce, we were talking before the show, and you said e-commerce has really been a strong area for us. Tell us about that. Most don't think of e-commerce when we think of Stanley Black Decker.
Oh, yeah. We've been working on it for a decade, and, we have about a 3-to-1 relative share advantage vis-a-vis the largest competitor in e-commerce. And so that investment is now paying off like in spades. It's growing, sometimes in the 50 to 80% range for us. And last year we had about a $1.3 billion business, and it's going to be much bigger this year.
Now, you have plants all over the globe. You have tens of thousands of employees. I guess the obvious question is, during all these chapters of COVID and how various countries have dealt with it, how are you keeping your workers globally safe?
That has been our priority, number one priority from day one when we came to grips with this crisis. And so early on, we required masks. We did temperature taking. We did all sorts of contact tracing. We did education, because there's a lot of misinformation out there. And all those things have combined to create a lot of sanitizing and many, many other things. And all of those have combined to create a safer environment that we've been able to operate continuously throughout this crisis with very minor supply chain interruptions.
Security business is also one of the bright spots. It seems though nowadays, wherever I go, everything is touchless. Can you tell us something about your security business and some of the areas you're moving into?
Sure. So we've had a healthcare segment of our security business for a long time that specializes in IoT applications and protecting the elderly. And in addition to that, we have an automatic door business, and these days, who wants to touch a door? So that's been really strong. And then we have the core electronic security business, which principal objective is to keep people safe. So this business was it's a $2 billion business, and it's something we built from scratch over the last 15 years or so. And it looked like it might have some it might be becoming strategically irrelevant to us. But COVID has changed everything with regard to that. People don't want to touch doors. We need to protect people in healthcare facilities, and and in institutional buildings. So contact tracing, proximity sensing, all these things, are done through our IoT applications in security.
Well, my final area is we live in a time where the obvious issues of social justice and being fair to everybody is something that seems to be doing very well at your company. I know that Forbes named you one of the best employers for women in 2020, but diversification has been an integral part of your management team. In the final 30 seconds I have, why don't you bring us up to date there?
Yes, we put a very intensive focus on diversity and inclusion. We've always had some focus on that, but we really ramped it up about 4 years ago and had worked hard to make sure that our underrepresented cohorts in society have an equal opportunity at this company, and that we do everything we can to make sure that the underrepresented have that opportunity.